And Bob Zimmer joins us right now from Fort St. John, BC. I know you're heading back to Tumbler Ridge a little later. Thank you so much for joining us in this very difficult time.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
I know you've been in the community for the last couple of days. Can you help Canadians understand what it's been like for people there?
It's just surreal. You know, the normal community, we've been to so many times over the years with kids playing hockey, and I worked there as a young guy too. It's just, it's the same place, but people are walking around sort of with this, you know, with disbelief in their faces. You can just see it. But then you start to talk to people, how you doing? You ask how they're doing, and they start to tell you. And whether they were in the school at the time, we've talked to several family members who've lost loved ones too, and just to talk and be there to give them a hug. And it's just a really sort of trying but really emotional time. And I think it's just good to be there. We need to be there for Tumbler Ridge as they mourn.
It's interesting because so many people say, you know, when it happens to a small community like this, one can't really comprehend it. But really, this is one of those communities that is so tight-knit. You know, you've been there for parts of your life, and I know that you know, you've had your kids go there as well for hockey tournaments. Like, what does this do to this type of town?
Well, you know, I was saying it yesterday, it would be devastating in any community, but I think it's particularly devastating in Tumbler Ridge because, you know, Tumbler Ridge isn't on the highway somewhere. You're not just driving through Tumbler Ridge where you're there. You have to be deliberately going there. You want to be there to be in Tumbler Ridge. So the people that are in Tumbler Ridge are all sort of really close neighbors as a result of that being in a remote place. So you know, that neighbor, it might be, you know, neighborly in some other jurisdiction, but in Tumbler, you're close. And so it's particularly tearing in Tumbler Ridge when, you know, talk to so many. Well, the mom that's a city councilor is also part of the pack who had kids in the school. And so it's all sort of this interconnected family that are all sort of grieving together and dealing and processing it together.
We know that the Prime Minister, Mr. Poilievre, the leader of the Conservatives, other federal leaders, as well as the Governor General, are going to be going there for the vigil later on tonight. What do you think that means to the community to have that kind of outpouring of support?
Yeah, I think it's really good. It's you know, the partisanship has been pushed aside, and I've spoken to both. I've spoken to Pierre quite a bit over the last few days, and spoken with the Prime Minister, and these are just men that are fathers and husbands, and just, you can hear them choke up and when they talk to you, and they just want to be there to support the community in this tough time. And I think through them, I think they represent the entire country, and it really just brings all of our sadness, you know, whether you're from, you know, Atlantic to the Pacific to the North Coast, it brings all sort of those concerns and love and prayers, all representative through our leaders. So no, it's just, I'm glad they're coming, and I think it's going to be a part of a healing moment for Tumbler Ridge.
Yesterday, in speaking to the mayor, he said he was concerned about the support that would be needed going forward. We know that mental health is a concern as well, making sure that there are enough people in the community and that it is in the community. How concerned are you about that being addressed going forward? Because we know that, you know, in the coming weeks and especially in the coming months, that will be all the more important.
Yes, and even, I mean, even some of the situation leading up to the situation, there's obviously some mental health needs there. I think, you know, I'll maybe limited what I say. I think, you know, a part of what we're doing right now is just, you know, going through the mourning process with the community. And I think those are questions that'll have to be answered. You know, it's, there's obviously a need there. And especially in Tumbler Ridge, there was a need there before this incident. There's even going to be a greater need after this incident, even across Canada. And I think those are some questions that we need to sort out answers to. One thing that I'm pleased about, though, is that the leadership, you know, from the Prime Minister to Pierre to Premier Eby have all been united in saying, let's all do what we can to help this, and so it never happens again. So I'm looking forward to that. But I think for today and for the next few hours, it's about mourning with the community.
What do you think the community will need going forward to really move on from this. And I know it's early, but
Yeah.
that type of healing that they will need going forward.
Yeah, I think it's each other. I've been, we've spoken to so many, and they don't want to be defined by this incident. There were this, like I mentioned, I think before, it's a beautiful community in the Rocky Mountains, and it's beautiful in the winter, beautiful in the summer, and there's people go there to snowmobile and to go see the geopark and different things, and I think even though there's a dark cloud over Tumbler Ridge now, I think they want to get back to where the sun is shining again, but it's going to take some time. These individuals, we're never going to forget them. I think, the families need to be reassured too. We're never going to forget them. In the process too, we don't want to move on from it in a way where we forget about the people that are so affected by the situation, but we need to proceed and kind of heal together. And I think that's all being just staying close knit, being there to be a shoulder to cry on, be there to listen again and spend more time. But I think just as an entire Canadian community, and I'll be a bit more frank about it, we just need to be a little bit more patient with each other, a little bit more loving. We've said it so many times, but please, thoughts and prayers, but please keep praying for Tumbler Ridge. I think that's going to be an important part in this healing journey, to see light again in this darkness. It's there. We just, we'll get there. But, we just covet Canadians' prayers to help us get there.
Well said, Mr. Zimmer. I appreciate it. We're going to leave it on that. Member of Parliament for Prince George, Peace River, North Rockies, Bob Zimmer, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate this.
Thanks, Mike.